Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Okay, fine, I can't believe that I'm posting a nope story. Be in college. People get away with breaking into out of bounds areas of campus just to get their urban exploration on. Maintenance rooms, elevator rooms, entire floors of buildings that are just full of the machines that run the ventilation system. Almost nothing is actually alarmed. Custodial staff, on the rare occasion they see you, won't rat you out unless you act like a total ass. School has dealt with this so chronically that even if people actually get caught, consequences are minimal. Out exploring one time. A major lecture hall has a staircase leading downward. It's visible by the normal entrance. A locked door is visible at the basement level. Break into it during an exploration trip. Standard machine room load out of spooky scenery, horrible lighting. Pipes everywhere. Very filthy. Have to crawl to navigate most of the room. Find a shallow box with no lid in one corner. It is full of pictures, of dismembered dolls. Is this real life.jpg? We're all going to die down here.avi. We got the hell out of there, it was a dead end overall, and went to trespass elsewhere. There is all kinds of folklore among students about how various strange things came to be, but we have still not figured out where the mutilated doll photos came from. A few years ago I would have assumed they were put there to fuck with people, but I've met so many crazy bastards around here in the intervening time that gradually the severely mentally ill individual hypothesis came to seem less impossible. There's some other weird shit around campus, but that one wins for sheer ability to make me question the fabric of reality. Most are only spooky because of the threat of cops and the filth and seclusion and darkness, and the occasional danger of severe bodily harm. Damn, I wish I'd done more of this urban exploration shit while I still had the undergrad's no real consequences unless you really fuck up policy in my favor.
Just moved into the neighborhood with GF. Pretty nice, relatively new housing development, hardly any crime, a few patches of woods nearby. Taking the dog for a walk just after dark. See something sort of small scurrying across the yard. Dog goes apeshit. Looks like a raccoon or a possum. It runs like a mofo. Tries to get around the corner of my house. Something human-shaped leaps out from around the corner. Pounces on raccoon thing like a fucking wolf or some shit. Fucking excuse me.sdk. The raccoon is screaming while the humanoid thing thrashes it around with its mouse. Goes silent. My dog is whimpering, trying to bust us back to my back porch. I'm about to follow, but the thing snaps its head up to look at me. Low growl, it crouches down. I'm pretty sure it's gonna charge me, get ready to bolt. It turns 90 degrees and dashes across my neighbor's yard, dead raccoon still in its mouth. Get a better look at it while it's running away. Looks like a butt-ass naked dude, emaciated as fuck, no visible hair, has a short, around 6'1", bald tail. Watch it climb up the side of my neighbor's house, putting its nails or claws or whatever into the siding. Climbs up 2 stories of wall, gets to the roof. It turns back and looks at me. The raccoon is still dangling from its mouth. Turns away and runs down the other side of the roof. Next day, I saw giant ass gouges in the neighbor's siding where this motherfucker climbed the wall. Dried blood streaks where the raccoon had been pressed between the wall and the thing's mouth. Tell the neighbor about what I saw. He goes pale and just sort of nods, says I shouldn't mention it to anyone else. Says I should avoid going out too late after dark, GF should do the same. Says something similar already got 2 of his pets. Well fuck. Moved out into a similar neighborhood, sans woods and fucking man possums, within a month.
Be me. Age 17, October. Camping and scout group of 9 on trip in the woods about 100 kilometers north of town. Someone decides to play nighttime cops and robbers. We all agree. Mind you, it's like 11 p.m. and pitch black except for moonlight and a single lantern. Rules are simple: 3 cops, 6 robbers. Cops guard lanterns and catch robbers using flashlights. Robbers need to reach the lantern to win. Caught robbers sit on a bench a few meters away from the lantern. It's round 6 or 7. I'm a robber. We start out at the pier. Start making our way around to circle the lantern. Quickly 2 robbers get caught. Then a third. Maybe more, I can't tell. I circle around to the other side to get a better angle of approach. Hear rustling beside me. I glance back at the figure. He waves at me. I wave back. He kneels down and crawls right up beside me. I start telling him my idea for getting to the lantern. He's nodding in the dark. I can't see much, but he's wearing a hoodie like the other robber players. I move up, crawling on my hands and knees. He's following me the whole way, just 2 feet to my left. I make a break for the lantern. I hear him scramble up beside me, leaves crunching under our feet. Suddenly there's a beam of light and I'm caught by all 3 cops who were camping around the lantern. I look at the 3 cops, then to the other 5 robbers sitting on the bench. I slowly turn around. Nobody there. I look back, ask if they'd seen anyone running with me. They all shake their heads and look at me like I'm crazy. I shakily ask that we head to bed and lock them as well, just in case. They sigh and agree that it's getting late. 2 a.m. maybe. We're intense. My mates tell me not to bother locking up. I do it anyway. I stay up all night sweating and staring at the opening to the tent. I swear I heard moaning and leaves being trampled underfoot that night, all around the tent, like someone circling. Nobody believed me in the morning. I will never go back there again.
When you were talking to him, did he or she ever actually say anything to you? It could be a skinwalker, shapeshifter, whatever we're calling them now. It could be something less sinister, a prank.
No, I don't think he actually said anything to me. In the darkness he looked like another scout in our group. I'm pretty sure it looked like he was wearing a hoodie, but aside from that I couldn't tell. For reference, it was incredibly dark. I didn't have a flashlight, and the closest source of light was a small gas lantern about 100 meters away. It was also cold as shit at the time. We regularly get frost on October nights where I live, and this was a ways away more north of that. In hindsight, I don't know if I saw the figure breathing. It was maybe -3 Celsius at the time and my breath was forming in the air in front of me. I don't think I saw a breath cloud in front of him, but again it was super dark. It also meant the leaves made a ton of sounds when stepped on, which made it easy for the cops to win each round. Robbers only won one of them. The area the camping site was in could probably be traced back to Native American origins, but that would be over a century ago. When it was founded, I think it was just a farm with a really nice lake. I actually went there 20+ times over half a decade before this happened, at which point I just never wanted to go back there again. I don't remember hearing any strange stories about the history of the place. Again, it had been a scout reserve for nearly 100 years at that point. Oh, and by the way, we didn't have a scout leader with us that night. He'd had to return home due to his daughter getting injured, but we had enough food, training, and a cell phone to make sure we wouldn't get into too much trouble. It was just the 9 of us there that night, and maybe who or whatever the hell that thing was.
This just happened yesterday night. Me. Be in a townhouse along with 6 other people. Reading Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King without knowing the time because I can't be bothered to go outside of my room and check the clock in the kitchen. just reading the night away. I usually lock the door out of habit, but this wasn't my house, and it would be rude to lock my door. It has to be well past midnight. The room door starts shaking violently. More like vibrating violently, and it sounded like it would have dislodged from its hinges. I turned around, and the first thought was that my jackass friends might need something from me. Realized people don't try to open doors by shaking or vibrating them. Second thought was some /x/shit going on. Glance over at my water bottle to see if the liquid inside is also disturbed or not. Water inside the bottle was perfectly still. It wasn't an earthquake like I'd hoped. This was in Southern California and earthquakes are common. Not jackass friend. Not earthquakes. Not people. Honestly is just genuinely puzzled at this point. Stared stupidly at the vibrating door for 20 seconds until it stopped vibrating. Nothing happened after that. No monsters, no demons, no spooks. Didn't dare to go out of my room for the entire night. I just asked all 6 people in the house this morning about the door thing. They all heard the vibration but were unsure what it was and where it came from. The house belongs to one of my friend's mom. From what I understand, it's only an investment property and it's in a relatively new neighborhood plan. 15 years old or so.
Happened to me last night. Be me. Working graveyard shift in a group home. Only one person here, low functioning, very hostile. Be 3 a.m., going to get a drink of water. Walk by the vacant hallway. Hear a loud grinding noise, with loud bump sounds occasionally. Kinda sounds like someone rubbing 2 coarse rocks together, and someone else bumping his fist against the wall. Sound only lasts 2 seconds, but happens periodically throughout the night. I figure it's just normal house sounds. Dishwasher, ice maker, water heater. 6 hours of listening to that shit on and off. Finally, the person living here wakes up. Shambles around as usual. As I'm making him breakfast, he walks back into the vacant hallway, which never in the months I've worked here happened. Proceeds to stare at the door of the empty bedroom in the back of the hallway, hitting himself on the head. He makes this weird, NUWH sound that he usually uses when he wants someone's attention. The only problem is that he only ever says it when he makes eye contact with someone. He's staring at a door. This is totally cool with me because it means he's not trying to kick my ass. This continues for hours though, long enough to where he just went to the bathroom on the floor. Finally, the person who's supposed to take over my shift comes in. I ask him if there's anything in that back room that ever makes noise. He says he's never heard anything in the 3 years he's worked there, and that there isn't anything back there that could be making noise. Anyways, I'm sitting in the house right now, staring at the hallway, wondering what the fuck was back there. Seriously can't take this level of fear 8 hours a night.
Be me. About 11 years old. Took a long bike ride alone, didn't have many friends. Just head west as straight as I can. Figure I'll just reach the next town eventually. Turn the wrong way somewhere, end up in backwoods outlying part of town. No sidewalks and such. Find a road that goes into what seems to be solid woodland. Thinking maybe I ought to turn back, it's getting on towards sunset. Nah, fuck it. Head on down this dirt road, further and further into the middle of nowhere. Find old train tracks, look like they're out of service. Follow them for a while. I see something on the tracks. A wallet, covered in what looked like dried blood. Oh fuck. Open it up to check for ID, money, etc. $10, 2 credit cards, some discount, shoppers club type stuff and a driver's license. Everything was scratched, the whole wallet looked like it had been chewed on. Put the license in my pocket and get on my bike. Start riding back the way I came at terminal velocity. Hear a roar in the near distance, like nothing I ever heard before. Nope.swf. Got the fuck out of there as fast as my frail 11-year-old legs could take me. Gave the wallet to the local police station, they thanked me for returning it and I told them about what I'd seen. Of course, they thought I was fucking with them or something like that. When I got home, I deadbolt every door to the house and covered the windows. Lay in bed with a small knife under the covers the whole night. Never did hear anything about that wallet or its owner in the news or otherwise.
Here's a long one for you. Be a few weeks ago. Visiting a friend in the next town over. Rarely see him. He moved about 40 hours away. He's staying with his uncle who was also my former high school principal. Awkward silence when I walk into house because I was a troublemaker in high school, kind of straying from the story. Sorry. We decided it would be less awkward to just go for a walk. Head to the local beach, which is down a big ass hill. Sit on some benches and chat for the whole evening. Do you hear that? He cuts me off mid-sentence. No. I watch him stand up and look around. I follow suit. I don't see anything, but I hear an incoherent muttering. Sounds like a little girl is talking. Let me just add that this happened in the evening of a rather rainy day. Meaning the beach was empty save for a few birds. This little town has little to no crime at all. We start talking again, this time about the voice. He starts getting uncomfortable as the voice seems closer. We're dead silent listening to voices. We're both pretty much standing at this point. Ready to GTFO. I scanned the area again. Getting that good adrenaline rush. Hear rustling in the tree line close by. See the fucker that's been watching us. Friend grabs my arm with a death grip and makes this weird whimper sound. I whip out my phone to take a quick pic. Couldn't get a clear shot because the fucking girl started walking towards us. Noped the fuck out of there with my friend still grasping my arm. Running full tilt, but my friend runs faster than me. Even though I told him to let go of my arm, he would just make his grip tighter. We made it to the house. Both pretty much out of breath. Running uphill sucks. Ask him what the fuck was that and why couldn't we ask the girl why the fuck she was there. A friend tells me of a story he heard about a girl who drowned at the beach long before it became a public area. Didn't believe it, but shit. Got a shitty pic out of it. Arm had a bruise for like a week. Another because it looks like I'm not ready for sleep yet. First off, I want to make it clear how powerful the mind can be. I had a few friends over a couple of times and I managed to convince each and every one of them that my house is haunted. Despite the house being only 11 years old and my family was the first and only occupants. We moved into the new house so quickly that they didn't even have time to finish the basement. Anyways, here we go. 2 years ago. Brought new friend Kay over for the first time. Walking up to my place, I was telling her bullshit ghost stories about the place. She knows it's a fairly new house but believes every bit. For some reason, everyone believes my street was built on an Indian burial ground. I live on a res and traditions are still pretty strong here. I've been told that long ago, people would bury their dead on the highest hill so they would have a shorter journey. But I digress. Make it to my place. It's always dark in my house. She is uncomfortable right off the bat. Internal laughing engaged. Leave her alone in the living room to scare her even more. Checks my usual boards. Come back and she's huddled up in the corner. Tried not to laugh my ass off. What's wrong? Almost couldn't keep a straight face.
I saw someone standing in the hall near your door.
My face when, as I was listening to her, I saw something move in my peripherals. I lied about the ghost thing and knew nothing was there, but somehow I kind of doubted that. Nope. I sent her home and smudged the house. Looking back, I probably scarred her for life. What a shitty friend.
Be me. 4 years ago, in the middle of summer. Staying in a small cottage with my husband. There are no noises outside so I can't sleep. Suddenly feel my husband putting his hand on the small of my back, pushing hard. It is not my husband, because I'm spooning him. I wanted to die at that moment. The hand is still there. Too scared to speak. Press nails into husband's arm. He wakes up. I feel the hand quickly pulling away at the first sign of him moving. I'm panicked. I'm in tears. Entire cottage gets checked. Lights stay on, must be the sleep paralysis I keep hearing about. 1 hour passed. It is now 3 o'clock and we decide to go back to bed. Asshole husband conks the fuck out and starts snoring. Spoon him. Getting relaxed. Feel fingertips on my back. Freeze. The hand starts pressing again. I panicked. Packed our shit and drove the 5-hour drive back home in silence.
Time for one of my many nopes. Be last summer, just after the 4th of July weekend. Be out with a fellow veteran bro deep in a woods. Doing some woods, weapons training for a number of days together. Nothing serious, just keeping the old knife sharp. In before, go back to K. Anyway, be having a fire guard one night while bro sleeps, rifle in hand, chest rig on, all that tactical shit. Train how you fight, pussies. Hear extremely loud grunting roughly 50 yards in front of me. Try to wake bro, but he is knocked out. Operator face.png. Weapon at the low ready. Quietly stand up and look into the blackness of Ina Woods. Hear an extremely loud wood knocking sound on a tree about 20 yards in front of me. Loud enough to startle the nope out of me. More grunts. Lower night vision goggles from helmet to my eye. Armchair generals, save your breath please. That shit is uncomfortable to wear unless you have no alternative. And see something that is maybe 8 to 9 feet tall sort of hiding behind a very large, wide redwood tree. Raise weapon. Click safety off for fear of life. The click of the safety must have startled whatever it was, because the sound that it made was one of the loudest that I have ever heard. Deafening is an understatement. I can hear its breathing, what almost sounds like its mouth open and it smashing its teeth together loudly. Bro wakes up to its loud sound, comes up to my side and takes the safety off his weapon too. Sound of the second safety must have spooked it off, because there was a huge black mass, way too fast to get a clear image, that shot out from behind the tree and off behind a ton more trees while it escaped into the woods. We stay up the rest of the night because nope.jpg, pack up and finish the trip in the morning. We haven't ever had anything that nuts happen while taking these trips, but we have had lots and lots of distant howls and tons of wood knocking. I have other stories, not just ones that are guns and Murica related. Alright, here is one, albeit also Murica related. Part 1. B 2006, Iraq. Just started clearing a somewhat large town with some other units. Totally spent from the rest of the day, but have to pull guard at the cop we set up. Sitting on top of this balcony thing we had, just my squad leader and I. Sun is just barely setting, sky is beautiful, for Iraq. Field of view is down a street, palm trees lining the center of the street and some near the sidewalk areas. Left side of the street, maybe at about 11 o'clock, see a man with weird shining glints on his jacket. He walks from behind a tree and into the street and makes it to the middle of the street island divider thing. Walks behind a tree, and doesn't come out from behind it. These are really skinny palm trees. The fuck.gif. See the same man walk from behind another tree, opposite side of the road, maybe halfway between me and where he was to begin with, roughly 70-ish yards. The glinting on his clothing is now small little fires. Call the squad leader to me, he is in a little room behind me. Next thing I know, slapped on the back of my head. You were asleep you fuck. Says squad leader, and rightfully so. I got shit on later for this, and would have reacted the same way. But I was fucking dead tired, couldn't help it. Shake it off, keep looking downrange. See the same man come out from behind a tree in the middle of the street again. this time roughly 25 yards in front of me. His top half was totally engulfed in fire. "Sergeant Griff, please come here." Griff comes out. He finally sees what I am seeing. A grown man walking toward our position with a coat that was on fire. Why can't I hide all this? Nope. Call it in to others, they're not seeing anything. How in the fuck? JPG. Griff takes me downstairs, and when we get to the bottom of the little house we were occupying, he is gone. Nobody else saw the man, and at first I could have sworn that I was dreaming. It is actually classified as droning. Sleeping while awake. But when my squad leader saw the same thing, we didn't know what to think. Told the commander what we saw, and he said it didn't matter because we were leaving that part of the city a few days later. Not exactly a true nope, but it was just something weird that I thought I would share. I have others, some like the first, some like this, some sort of paranormal-ish. Alrighty, here is a story from when I was a little kid, kind of long, but the end is worth it, to me, anyway. Born and raised in the Bay Area. Lived here almost all of my life, except for during my time in the Army and a year in San Diego after that. When I was about 7, we lived in a house in Richmond, California on a street called Key Boulevard. House was absolutely huge, but had no real yard, front or back, of any kind. The build of the house was very unique. The living room was huge and open, and where the couch and chairs would sit was in the middle of the room and down a few stairs, hard to explain. Think of a big room for the living room, entryway, and in the middle of that room there was a big square set of 2 stairs that went down into the sitting area. Anyway, saw weird shit all of the time in this house. Hallway that branched off from the already weird-looking living room had a lamp on a stand at the end of it. Lamp constantly either had electrical problems, or would burn out brand new bulbs within minutes of us replacing them. People in the house would see a shadow figure at the end of the hall. Because of the light problem, it was always super dark at the end of the hallway. You'd look, and of course it was gone. The end of that hallway had a basement, which for this part of California is very, very fucking weird. We used it as a living room, game room. Put carpet down there and a TV. Slot cars. Rocking chairs for Mom, Super Mario, etc. Would hear the old stairs leading down to our area creak and squeak, like someone was walking down them, while we were down there. Mother was fairly religious at the time. Had crosses all over the house from different places that she had been to, sort of collected them, very small collection, she was particular. I would find them either on the floor or flipped upside down pretty often, and she would get really mad when I would come and get her to show her. Anyway, 2 major things happened within 1 week to me that made me fucking nope forever with this place, and is ultimately why we moved out about a month later. Connected to the living room was the kitchen. It was more like a part of the living room that was converted into a kitchen. Kind of weird. Next to that, there was a really long hallway that went down to this one small room all by itself. Parents used this as my toy playroom. Had loads of Transformers, cars, G.I. Joes. One day, playing with G.I. Joes. Have a serious shit ton of them. Mom calls me to the kitchen for lunch, and I go and have a sandwich. I remember this one particularly because she sat me up on the counter and let me eat it there while we talked about a super bad dream that I had the night prior. After talking and eating, I ran back to the playroom. Walk inside, and am stopped dead in my tracks. All other toys except for G.I. Joes are pushed against the walls. G.I. Joes are dismembered. Legs, joints, heads, arms, torsos, hip, groin area, etc. All totally torn apart and stacked up into one huge pyramid-like pile in the middle of the room. Scared fucking shitless from nope.png. Turn around to run and get Mom, and see the mega old wooden crucifix she has on the wall next to the door shaking, and it turns completely upside down. Eyes wide as fuck, can't speak or even yell because nope, run out of the room at laser beam speed. Get Mom. Pull her into the room. Toys magically all put back together, but still in the pile. Mom tries to calm me down. Mom. There was nope happening though.
Don't be silly, Anon. The Lord will protect us.
One day passes. Father hears a story from her and I separately. Chills me out, and then this happens. We are eating dinner and talking. Hear a very loud bang and scrape upstairs. It sounded like it was coming from my room, right above us. I have a nope face, and my parents laugh about something else. Bedtime comes, and we all fall asleep. Wake up in the middle of the night to some crazy sound in the corner of my room. This corner connected to a corner of my parents' room. Think of the two rooms' corners touching each other, but they were not connected, as if you could walk between them. Getting louder, staring at a dark, black mass in the corner of the room. That feeling when nope, super loud banging starts happening. Over and over and over. I start screaming. It sounds like someone has a big hammer or sledgehammer and is smashing it against the corner of the room. I can hear my dad screaming on the other side of my bedroom door.
Anon, are you okay? Anon.
Screaming and crying. Absolute terror. So much nope. Dad, a former ranger, professional door kicker, kicks in the door and shines a gun and flashlight in the room. Grabs me, and we leave the house and stay with my grandma. The next day, they decided to sell the house and admitted that they had been seeing, hearing shit the entire time, and just tried to hide it from me because I was freaked out to begin with. We never stayed in the house again. Later in life, my mom told me that she had done research on the house through the Richmond Public Directory. The house was built like forever ago, and at one point was a whorehouse, in the 1800s at some point. Apparently, there was a woman that decided that it was cool to stop taking money from clients, and when the pimp owner of the place found out, he came in like a pimp named Slickback, found her f***ing a dude on her bed, killed the dude with his pistol, and grabbed her by the neck. He then drugged her over to the corner of the room, gripped her by the neck, and smashed her head into the corner until she was nothing but a bloody, dead mess. I've seen the records for myself. Still nopes me to this day.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Oh.